Hamilton's Ferrari has failed a critical FIA legality check, and the consequences could be career-defining. Post-race analysis revealed anomalies in the SF25 that could lead to disqualification from Abu Dhabi. If confirmed, Ferrari could lose constructors' points, and Hamilton's first season in red ends in controversy. And the twist: engineers had already flagged instability in the car before the race even started, raising serious questions about team oversight. Subscribe now, because this bombshell could completely rewrite Hamilton's debut season at Ferrari. The 2025 Abu Dhabi Grand Prix was supposed to be a calm conclusion to Lewis Hamilton's first season at Ferrari, yet it quickly turned into a high-stakes drama. McLaren and Red Bull dominated the championship, leaving Ferrari to salvage points rather than chase victories. Charles Leclerc finished fourth, extracting maximum performance from the SF25 despite its narrow operational window. Hamilton, however, finished 8th after starting 16th, facing constant mechanical instability that challenged his driving style and experience throughout the race. Hamilton's struggle was evident from the very first lap. Onboard footage shows him continuously correcting the car through Sector 3's high-speed corners near the hotel complex, managing rear-end instability that made the car unpredictable. Unlike Leclerc, whose setup allowed smoother cornering, Hamilton relies on trail braking and precise rotation to extract performance. The SF25's sensitivity exacerbated his difficulties, forcing him to battle both the car and the track conditions simultaneously. Radio communications highlight the tension in the Ferrari garage. Race engineer Riccardo Adami praised Hamilton for recovery. P8 Lewis: tough weekend, but good recovery. Thank you for the effort this year. Hamilton calmly responded, "Thank you guys. I know it's been hard. I'll always fight for you guys no matter what. Let's work for 2026. Get home safe." His words reveal a combination of professionalism and the mental strain caused by a car that failed to provide consistent feedback or confidence on track. Post-race, the FIA conducted a thorough legality check on Hamilton's SF25. Evidence revealed anomalies, particularly in the right rear suspension, which did not conform to homologated specifications under lateral loads. These deviations, though subtle, are sufficient under Formula One's zero-tolerance regulations to trigger a potential sanction. The findings immediately placed Hamilton and Ferrari under scrutiny, raising concerns about compliance and oversight within the team. Leclerc's fourth-place finish contrasted sharply with Hamilton's performance. His slightly different aerodynamic and suspension setup allowed better balance and tire management, mitigating the SF25's sensitivity. Hamilton, on the other hand, experienced pronounced instability as night conditions and track temperature changes affected grip. This contrast highlights the SF25's narrow performance window and the impact of minor setup variations on driver confidence and car behavior. Off-track, Hamilton addressed criticism from the paddock regarding his performance. Questions about whether he had lost his touch were met with calm defiance. While he offered no sensational statements, his body language, deliberate pauses, and confident demeanor communicated a powerful message to critics. He remained focused, aware, and in control despite the car's limitations and the surrounding pressure. Finally, Ferrari's strategy and development approach compounded the challenge. The SF25 that ran in Abu Dhabi was largely unchanged from Qatar, as resources were focused on the 2026 car. Operating in a car with such a narrow and sensitive performance envelope, Hamilton faced amplified instability. Coupled with FIA scrutiny and the mounting media and paddock pressure, the post-race scenario created both tension and anticipation for how the team would respond to potential penalties, driver concerns, and preparation for the next season. The FIA's post-race investigation into Hamilton's SF25 began with a thorough review of telemetry and sensor data. Engineers identified repeated anomalies in the right rear suspension during high-speed lateral loading, particularly through Sector 3 of the Yas Marina track. Wheel load, yaw rate, and suspension deflection readings consistently deviated from homologated specifications. Even subtle, millimeter scale deviations are critical in Formula One, where compliance is absolute. These findings triggered a deeper mechanical analysis to confirm whether a breach had occurred. Mechanical testing followed, using hydraulic actuators and calibrated load rigs to simulate the exact forces experienced on track. The right rear suspension component flexed beyond its approved tolerance by over 3 millimeters under peak lateral load conditions. Although the part did not fail structurally, This deviation constituted a violation of Article 11 of the Technical Regulations, which governs allowable component deformation. The precision of the measurements and consistency across tests made the evidence compelling. Comparison with Leclerc's SF25 highlighted the anomaly's specificity. While both cars were constructed to nearly identical specifications, Leclerc's rear suspension remained fully compliant throughout similar track conditions. This indicated that the issue was isolated to Hamilton's chassis rather than a systemic design flaw. Possible contributing factors include assembly variants, part batch differences, or setup adjustments tailored to Hamilton's driving style. Regardless, Formula One rules place full responsibility on the team for compliance. High-speed video footage corroborated telemetry and mechanical tests. Multiple laps showed the right rear suspension compressing more than expected, particularly in critical corners. Frame-by-frame analysis confirmed that the component's behavior on track aligned with sensor data. The combination of telemetry, mechanical testing, and video evidence provided the FIA with irrefutable proof of a deviation from homologation. To validate reproducibility, FIA engineers analyzed several key laps, including laps 31, 34, and 36. Each lap demonstrated identical right rear suspension behavior, ruling out one-off incidents or accidental contact. This confirmed that the flex was an intrinsic characteristic of the component under operational racing conditions, meeting the threshold for a formal technical infraction. The FIA emphasized that the potential penalty does not depend on performance benefit. Although Hamilton finished 8th and was not competing for the podium, compliance is mandatory. Any component operating outside declared specifications compromises the legality of the car, irrespective of race position or advantage. The repeated deviations observed in Hamilton's SF25 satisfy these regulatory criteria. Finally, Ferrari faces both immediate and long-term consequences. Hamilton's Abu Dhabi result could be nullified, potentially costing critical constructors points. Beyond the race, the case highlights Formula One's zero-tolerance approach, where even millimeter-scale deviations are treated as serious infractions. Ferrari must either justify the anomaly convincingly or accept sanctions that could impact driver morale, team reputation, and preparation for the 2026 season. In Formula One, every suspension component serves dual purposes: mechanical integrity and aerodynamic performance. The SF25's rear suspension governs rear ride height, pitch, and floor airflow, directly affecting downforce, tire contact, and cornering stability. Even minor deviations from homologated behavior can change how the car rotates, grips, and reacts in high-speed corners. This is why the FIA enforces strict compliance rules. Even millimeter-scale deviations can render a car illegal, regardless of whether the driver gains a direct performance advantage. Hamilton's right rear suspension repeatedly flexed beyond its approved limit during Sector 3, a finding confirmed through telemetry, mechanical testing, and high-speed video analysis. Article 11 of the Technical Regulations explicitly forbids any dynamic deformation outside homologated parameters. The FIA does not consider intent, race outcome, or driver experience. The repeated deviation alone constitutes a technical breach. Hamilton's SF25 consistently exceeded these limits, forming the basis for potential disqualification. Hamilton's driving style amplified the observed anomaly. Known for trail braking and significant mid-corner rotation, he relies on a predictable rear end for precision. The extra flex caused inconsistent rear responses, forcing constant corrections to maintain the racing line. While Hamilton maintained control, the irregular suspension behavior revealed that the component was outside legal parameters, which in the FIA's eyes is sufficient for a penalty regardless of driver skill. Even minor suspension deviations have cascading effects. Millimeters of unexpected flex alter tire loading, pitch, and floor aerodynamics, subtly affecting rotation and stability. The repeated right rear flex observed in Hamilton's car could have influenced cornering behavior, even if the driver managed it effectively. Formula One enforces zero-tolerance compliance. Any deviation from homologation, no matter how subtle, is treated as a serious infraction. Ferrari setup and assembly processes are under scrutiny. Both SF25s were built to nearly identical specifications, yet only Hamilton's car exhibited the anomaly. This points to assembly variants, material differences, or setup choices influenced by Hamilton's driving style. In Formula One, teams are responsible for the legality of all components, and drivers cannot be expected to compensate for mechanical non-compliance. The FIA's approach underscores the precision demanded in modern Formula One. Suspension, aero, and structural components are monitored down to the millimeter. Any deviation triggers investigation and possible penalties. Hamilton's SF25 illustrates how even elite drivers and world-class teams are affected when a component strays outside homologation, highlighting that zero-tolerance enforcement is a defining characteristic of contemporary F1 regulations. Finally, the implications extend beyond Abu Dhabi. Hamilton's suspension anomaly serves as a warning to Ferrari and the entire grid for 2026. Component validation, assembly accuracy, and adherence to setup tolerances are critical. The potential penalty highlights that even millimeter-scale deviations can have major consequences for drivers, teams, and championship standings. In modern Formula One, precision and compliance are as important as speed, and Hamilton's case demonstrates the stakes of maintaining mechanical integrity under racing conditions.